Well, part of it because I felt like a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, well, what how do I don't really deserve these accolades because
Uh-huh.
I'm just I'm not doing anything that great. I didn't think,
Right.
and I was like, well, how can I keep this up? Is there? I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about. Um,
Yes.
but I've been able to yeah, just I just keep going. I don't always
It,
come up with stuff.
You're listening to What the Hell is Michael Jamin Talking About? I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I'm talking about creativity, I'm talking about writing, and I'm talking about reinventing yourself through the arts.
okay. Hey, everyone. It's Michael Jamin. Welcome to the Michael Jamin Jam. Today I'm jamming with Mr. Scott Reeder. And who the hell is he? I'll tell you who he is. This guy is a prop master on a bunch of movies and TV shows. And I don't know him personally, but I've been following him for a very long time. And he's actually also a TikToker. So Scott, what I'm so inspired by what you do. And I'm opening up my podcast. I'm spending the next couple of sessions talking to people. I usually talk about screenwriters and I interview TV writers and people like that. But I also want to open up to people who are doing interesting, creative things, on social media. And you are for sure one of them. So thank you for coming on my show, dude.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm
Um,
excited.
I'm excited too because I've worked obviously with a lot of prop masters, and you post a lot on social media. And honestly, I don't know 99% of what you do. I'm like, oh, that's how they do it. I have no idea because you guys are magicians. Because to be truthful, I'm not supposed to notice what you guys do. That's the whole point. When you bring a prop on set, I'm not supposed to see if it's a gag or a gimmick or anything. It's supposed to look real. So I just said, oh, that must be real. So you
Yeah.
expose on your TikTok channel how all this is done. It's absolutely fascinating. Everything you put out.
Well, it's the little. It could be a scene in a burger joint, with a guy taking one bite out of a burger, and I would have to have like 30 hamburgers. So it's those little
Yeah,
things no one thinks about.
it's
Yeah.
but there's also a crossover. A lot of people don't think about is what you do, what set decoration does. There's a whole like okay, for example, if you have a scene and the horse is on set and a horse takes a dump, that's set deck or is that props?
Nowadays, I believe the animal wrangler would probably do it.
But
And
there's
I
arguing over set over who's going to
mhm.
do that,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah. There's always, well, I mean, not always arguing, but what I try to do is when I do my breakdown of a script
Mhm.
is, make contact with everyone involved and with every gag or every scene and make sure, okay, am I doing this or you? And that's
Right,
typically what I say. I leave it up to them and say, do you want me to do this? I'm totally cool with doing it. Yeah.
right.
And that's the way I'm not coming off like I'm trying to
Right.
sweep it off
Not
on
keep your
somebody
hand.
else.
But now, how did you get in? Because you've done so. I should run through some of your credits because I'll just go through. You Pitch Perfect, Walker Texas Ranger, Machete. You've done some great. You've
Mhm.
done some. The list goes on and on. How did you get into this, and why?
Well, I always wanted to work in media and communications of some sort. Oh gosh, I'll try to keep it brief. Um, I was going to the University of North Texas in 1988, 89, and there
Right.
happened to be a movie filming in town. It was called Daddy's Dying, Who's Got the Will, written by a playwright named Dale Shores.
Okay.
Starred Bo Bridges, Beverly D'Angelo, and I found out that they were filming at a hospital. I just showed up, but yeah, I just started picking up trash on set and working as the lowest rung non-paid production assistant. It was like it was 1989, so it was a long time ago. And
Uh,
then I just it's all about networking. It's all about kind of getting your foot in the door. Then I interned at a film at the North Texas Film Commission, which was great because we get scripts from producers because they wanted and I got to read them early on in the process because I was the guy that would go out and take pictures of it
mm,
could be a prison or restaurants, just locations to try to draw producers into to our neck of the woods.
Interesting.
And yeah, so that's how I kind of got my start.
But so tell me, when you start doing props and you have to make, whatever, puke, or you come up with all sorts of inventive ways, especially with food, to make something look so it doesn't melt or doesn't go bad. Or you did something with a stick of butter yesterday. You had fake butter so it doesn't melt on set. How do you come up with this? How do you, like, you're like a magician. How do you come up with these? You're an inventor. How do you invent all these things to make it look like butter or whatever?
Well, we just we break down the script. We come up with, we get with we every episode will have, as you have a director's meeting, and typically the writers are involved on that. And all the concept meeting, and then I know what they're expecting of me, and I'll go from there. And I'll just call around. I've got a lot of connections, a lot of friends that have if I haven't jumped that particular hurdle, I have friends that have. So that's just kind of how we
really. So it's okay. So it's word of mouth. How do you? That's how you do it then.
If I were in LA, I would be hiring a food stylist, but there's not enough. Like there are some commercial food stylists in Dallas. I'm in Austin. There really aren't many people here for that. So we have to really up our food game as prop master and assistant prop master and prop assistant. And
then how do you? So because we were talking earlier, you're based out of Austin, and I was like, I just assumed. So all your work is basically local, and you get enough work locally.
I work locally when I can.
What is that? Is that most of the time, though? Isn't it?
But occasionally I'll have to travel.
Occasionally, right?
Yeah, like I did Nosferatu for AMC in Rhode Island. And so when things get slow here in town, I'll travel on. I did a movie in Mississippi in 2019.
And how do you get most of your work? You don't have an agent getting you work, do you?
No, it's just
word of mouth.
It's just relationships I built with producers and word of mouth.
Right. So how does that work basically when it's like, how do you know when it's time to, there's nothing going on in Austin? Like, how do you give it a couple of weeks, a couple of months? What do you do?
Typically, I have a job lined up. Okay. And if, we try to plan a few months ahead. If not, it's just kind of wait around. Now, what I do, Michael, is I'll fill in as art director on commercials.
Oh, really?
So that's I'm lined up for one starting next week. And I haven't been that fortunate with commercials through the strike, because when the actors went on strike, even though companies can still make commercials, they're holding back on their campaigns right now.
Why is that?
So I don't know, but there's definitely been a slowdown. Now, part of that could be the Texas heat. I don't know, but it's definitely slower than normal. But yes, I would try to line jobs up ahead of time. I'll call around, let some people know that I'm available, but a lot of people know me will say, "Oh, Scott's show's ending soon. I'll give him a call." That sort of thing. It's a very small community.
I bet. Do you prefer to work in TV or film?
My bread and butter has been television. I like both. If I gotta go through a full season of television, and I have enough time between seasons, or it's a picture wrap of a show, I like filling in with features.
What is the difference for you between the two?
It's a big difference. It doesn't move nearly as fast.
Yeah, right. Because you're not doing as many pages a day.
Correct. You might do two or three pages a day.
Yeah.
It's just a whole different animal, really. It's if I'm doing a television show, I'm not on set as much because I'm in perpetual prep.
Okay.
I'm always working on the next script.
Yeah.
And if it's a feature, I will have prepped it ahead of time, and I'm on set, and I'm more hands-on with at camera and whatnot.
And how many?
I like that. I like that part of it.
People don't realize that when a prop is required on set, you will have backups and backups for the backups, because that's the worst thing that has happened. If something goes wrong, you're the one that gets yelled at.
Oh, correct. Yes.
Yeah.
We always try to have multiples. Now there are those items that are one of a kind, and you just gotta, cross your fingers, pray, and let everyone know, hey, this is don't play with this between takes. It's the only one we got. But that's rare. We typically have multiples of everything.
How many multiples is enough, do you think?
Yeah, it just depends on the scene.
Okay.
I like to have at least, bare minimum two. If it's an item that's involved in a stunt, you want to have four. Food scenes are crazy because it's hard to determine, because a lot of times the actor might improvise and eat a lot more than you think.
Yeah.
So you always go overboard on food scenes.
But they give you a budget. They also say you can't. They don't want you to waste. How do you know? They don't want you to come up with too much, because then they're paying for that.
Yeah. Well, the first couple, if we're talking about television, the first couple episodes are when you kind of feel it out. You'll buy heavier.
Yeah.
And then my assistant will call and say, hey, you got way too much last time. Dial it back. This particular director. And we get to where we know how the directors work. You'll have one director that'll do 6 takes, another director that's two and moving on. So you get to where you understand the personalities of everybody and how they work and how they operate. Well, this particular person, the last food scene, they went through a lot, so we'll get a lot.
Now, do you prefer low budget or high budget, or does that not make a difference to you?
Well, I prefer a bigger budget.
Really?
To be honest, yeah. It's a lot of times if you're working on a no budget feature, or like a really ultra basic cable show. I'm not gonna name names, but they literally give you pennies, and you're trying. It's just so much harder to when you could just go buy something than have to scrounge it, or limit your amount of takes because of the budget, or limited amount of props you have for a take.
Now in LA, there's tons of prop houses. I mean, what do you do when you're shooting in an area that doesn't have prop houses? Does Austin have any good prop houses?
What you do is you open up a prop house. That's what I did. 20 years ago, I opened up a little prop shop. It's not near the scale of the Los Angeles prop houses, but I have a little bit of everything. It's kind of the Noah's Ark.
So that's amazing. So it's just a warehouse, and you rent out to other prop masters, not just yourself, but to other productions.
Correct.
Wow.
Yes. And I actually rent all over the country. I just had a bunch of stuff come back from the Kevin Costner movie that was shooting in Utah.
Because there's one prop house that's going out of business in LA. They're having a fire sale, and I'm like, don't get rid of that. Like that stuff is important.
Well, hopefully one of the other either History for Hire or Independent Studio Services or Ham Prop Room will go in and get some of that stuff.
And so, do you specialize? Your prop house specialize in something? No,
not really. I have a little bit of everything. I've got occupational props, a little bit of Old West, some period stuff. I've got police gear, lots of military.
Right.
I try to keep things that you can't find at Walmart. Basically.
Right.
Or else the set decorator will just go to Walmart typically. So I specialize in harder to find things.
Is that something most prop or many prop masters have their own prop houses, or is that something just
not really? No. I was just the first to open one here. I think a lot of people will have prop trucks that they'll keep their kit on, and they'll have a general assemblage of props that stock props that they'll bring to every movie.
Right.
And they'll leave a portion of their truck empty for the hero props that they'll bring on.
Right.
I'm sure some have storage rooms, storage facilities somewhere where
Right.
they store things,
Well,
But
this explains to me, because it seems like you're very entrepreneurial in spirit, which explains to me, or maybe it doesn't, but how you started on this TikTok journey that you've been on, because this is very interesting what you do.
well, it's totally accidental. During the early days of the pandemic, my daughter was, scrolling on TikTok. She was 17 at the time, and she's laughing at some videos. So I'm like, "What you laughing at?" That sort of thing. So I downloaded it, and I saw some people attempting to tell dad jokes, and I'm
Right.
thinking, well, I can do that.
You can. You're good at it. Yeah.
And with some that I'd written, or taking really old jokes and adding punchlines to them. It was just fun. It was a fun hobby during that time where there was where the whole industry was shut down. And I got back on the Amazon show that I was on, called Panic, and one of my assistants, I can't remember which one it was, but they said, "Hey man, what we do is interesting. What if you work in some prop stuff?
Yeah.
Might be interesting." So I was very careful, because you want to be careful not to interfere with any NDA you may have signed. So I just kept things up in the lockup. I didn't go out on set. I just started, here's a breakaway beer bottle. This is what it's made out of, and this is how we safely break it. But
yeah,
and that's how it started, just breaking crap on my head, and it just went from there. Of course, the one that took off was silent props, which was pool balls, and I thought everybody did this, but apparently not.
No, I wasn't aware of that.
Masters.
Go on, because
they were painted.
Right there, I'll explain just for people listening. So when you have a scene on a pool table, in the background, you don't want to hear the clinking of the balls, so you don't use pool balls. Instead, you use
painted racket balls.
Painted racket balls, and they're about the same size.
Exactly. Yeah.
And is this something that all prop masters know, or did you just figure this out?
Well, it was accidental. Way back on Necessary Roughness, the original, back early '90s football movie. We had a bar scene, and for stunts, we painted racket balls. We had a football player landing on a pool table, right? So we had all these painted racket balls, but we realized, they don't make noise, so that's helpful too. So that's kind of how it started. It was
because
people don't as a stunt prop.
People don't realize when you shoot a movie or TV show, you don't want noise in the background. So you'll later in post put in that noise. The set is quiet, and then you wind up putting in the noise for some reason. It seems so silly, but that's how it works.
The sound mixer, Michael. I don't know if you probably know this, but if we're filming in a kitchen, or especially in an industrial kitchen, like in a restaurant, I don't know how the people on the Bear do it, because you got to go in and unplug everything. You got to unplug anything that has a compressor,
right? Because it might make noise, right? Or a hum,
which has boned me a few times, because I have stuff stored in a refrigerator, and the sound mixer's like, "Oh, we got to unplug that," and I'm like, "God."
Yeah, right. So now you got to bring a backup fridge, right?
But everything, shoes, you got to the sound mixer has what they call moleskin, and they'll put it on the bottom of people's shoes.
Yep.
They'll what else? There's all kinds of stuff. I spoiled the crew of the show that I've been working on, because once they saw my videos, they were like, well, do you have silent ping pong balls? And I'm like, well, I can figure it out.
All right. So what's the silent ping pong ball made out of?
I just found foam balls on Amazon and painted them.
But they don't.
It was that simple. I just measured them.
But the paint has to have a sheen. It can't just look crappy. It really has to look real.
Yeah, well, ping pong balls are kind of more satin. They're not they're not glossy.
Right.
So you just do a satin gloss on them. Once you put your paint on, and they turned out pretty good.
That's amazing.
And but yeah, the first video I did, we're talking, it was a 2020. I had garnered about 100,000 followers on TikTok, strictly on dad jokes. And then I did this one video with the silent pull balls and then silent grocery bags, because grocery bags are a big deal. You know how noisy paper grocery bags are.
Yeah.
And then I came up with this joke like as I was filming, and I was like, should I do this joke? And it was at the end of it, I took the pull balls and put them in the paper sack and said, and now the sound man is not annoyed with my ball sack. Right. That was the joke. And I filmed it, and I'm like, should I leave the joke in? I was really torn. I was like, yeah, I'll leave the joke. And I signed off my phone. I got in my car. I had about a 30-minute drive home. And I stopped at a convenience store and looked at my phone, and it was already up to, I mean, we're talking in half an hour. It had like 20,000 likes. Right. And it was insane. That one went up. That one got over 12 million views.
That's really a lot. And did it make you nervous when it first happened?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Let's talk about why.
Well, the thing is, I'm not, I've never been social media savvy. I've never been that dialed into it. I did have an Instagram account, but I maybe had 100 followers. Right. And somebody at work said, Hey, Scott, when are you going to post on Instagram? I was like, well, I don't know. My hands are full with TikTok. And they were like, well, dude, how did you get so many followers? And I looked at Instagram, and it was at like 10,000. Yeah. I was like, oh, geez. So I've been kind of forced into branching out to other platforms when I've already kind of got my hands full, because all this, I'd say 75% of my content has been done while I'm also pulling a 12-hour day on a TV show. Yeah. So it's a lot.
People don't realize it's a lot, because but there's a lot to talk about here. I'm very interested because, first of all, you have something like 1.7, I think, million followers on TikTok, which is huge. And this is only 2 or 3 years you're doing this?
May of 2020 is when I started, but I started slow. And then got into, then I guess it would be, I'd say July of 2020 is where I really started picking up. So yeah.
But why did it make you nervous when you started going viral?
Well, part of it because I felt like a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, well, what I don't really deserve these accolades because I'm just I'm not doing anything that great, I didn't think. Right. And I was like, well, how can I keep this up? I'm going to run out of stuff to talk about. Yes. But I've been able to just keep going. I don't always come up with something.
Right. And you post, what's the agreement you made with yourself? How many times a week do you post?
I try to post at least 4 times a week. Okay. I can't knock. I wish I'm one of those. I can't get, early on I was doing 2 a day, but it was just burning me out. And I'm also trying to, do stuff for YouTube and whatnot. So it's just
different content for YouTube.
No, it's same, but I'm trying to get filtering and trying to work on some long form as well. Right. But yeah, then YouTube. But like I said, I always feel like I get forced into other platforms. I found out in early 2021, there was a YouTube page. They had 90,000 subscribers. Yeah. It was called The Prop Master. It was my profile picture and 40 of my videos.
Oh, you're kidding. What'd you do?
I went and I did like copyright claim on I stayed up all night, copyright claiming every video.
How did you prove it? How did you prove it?
I sent links to my account because I was they were just taking them off of TikTok. Yeah. So I sent links to my TikTok. And I sent direct links so they could easily see the date because it's dated.
I cut you off. Were you about to say you hired a lawyer?
I hired a lawyer just in case, but luckily the person ceased and desist. They immediately
Wow.
pulled all the videos down, changed the name of the channel. I
How did
mean,
you
they did
find it
walk
though?
away. What's that?
I'm sorry, I cut you off. They walked away with what?
They walked away with all the subscribers. There's no way to get those subscribers back, which really pissed me off.
What was the name of the page though? Were they using your name?
No, they weren't. It was just called the Prop Master, but it was my profile
Of
picture
course.
off of TikTok, and it was all my videos.
And how did they find? How did you find them? Discover them?
You know something? There's another creator named Garden Marcus. He's a gardener on TikTok, and his manager reached out to me and said, "Hey, this person has been made a fake account on YouTube." So they reached out to me to warn me because they said it looks like this guy's doing your content too.
Hey, it's Michael Jamin. If you like my content, and I know you do because you're listening to me, I will email it to you for free. Just join my watch list. Every Friday, I send out my top 3 videos of the week. These are for writers, actors, creative types, people like you. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. I'm not going to spam you. And the price is free. You got no excuse. To join, go to michaeljamin.com/watchlist. And now back to what the hell is Michael Jamin talking about?
This happens to me all the time, where it's not on YouTube, but you must happen to you. You have fake accounts with your profile picture. They spell your name wrong with one letter, and they're just trying to scam people, I guess. I'm not sure what the point is.
I don't know, but yeah, I bet there's 6 or 8 on TikTok. It happened to me again, just about, I found out about it 3 weeks ago on Facebook, because I never have had, like I said, I've always had my hands full with Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. And I always keep saying, well, I'm going to eventually branch out. I had made a Facebook, Scott Prop and Roll Facebook page, and posted some videos back in 2022. But I didn't get any views, so I just I gave up on it. And then I found out, I looked, and I just happened upon it. I just did a search to see if there were any fake accounts on Facebook. And sure enough, this person made a Facebook page, said Scott Prop and Roll, spelled exactly the same.
Right.
They've got 70,000 followers. So I always take that as a challenge. I'm like, okay, well, boom, I'm going to start posting my videos.
Right.
And of course, then you get a little let down because they don't get any views. And then, but it's the same thing as with YouTube, same exact thing with the algorithm. It's like you post about 20 videos and you got nothing. And a few weeks later, things start kicking in.
Yeah.
And so I've played massive catch up. I haven't quite caught up with the fake me, but I'm close. So the fake me is at 70,000. I just hit 60,000.
But are you going to try to take down the fake account on Facebook?
I did. I reported it, and they came back with we can't take down fan pages. So I've just got to keep at it. But
it's not a fan page, though.
No, it's not. It's definitely not.
People don't realize how frustrating this is.
Michael, my mom was following the fake. True.
Now, people don't realize the amount of work that goes into this. The night before, I try to post 5 times a week. The night before, I'm like, oh, crap, what am I going to talk about tomorrow? Like, do you get the same thing? How much thought goes into the night before?
Well, I just kind of have a list anytime I get an idea, because I'm real bad about not writing stuff down, but I've gotten a lot better, especially with doing content, is I just keep a running list, and I'll go the night before I'll look at that list, and if I haven't already fleshed it out already, and then I'll. And how is it?
The thing is, your content is very family friendly. What you do is very interesting. It's like I said, it's like watching a magician, and yet I can't imagine why someone would troll you, and yet I'm certain people troll you because people are jerks. Or do they not?
I've been really lucky. It hasn't been that bad. Yeah, there have been the occasional. And typically it's like, if someone gets mad at me about something, which I really don't give people much reason to be mad at me.
Right.
The first thing that they said is they call me old man. And it's like, whatever. That's like it's like, okay, now what? Yeah. I'm an old man on TikTok that probably has more followers than you. It's what I'm thinking in my head, but I never say it.
Right. You don't respond in any way to these people.
I do not. I watched way too many people respond. You know, there are some accounts out there that are more kind of vloggy, and they eat that up. That gives them content.
Right.
It's like if someone says something snarky to them, they jump on it and like they'll make 6 different videos about a guy that talked bad to him, you know. And it's that's just not my style.
Do you engage with you must have super fans too. Do you engage with them?
Yeah, I try to.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like a little, so if every comment or some comments, because it can be overwhelming. You have a huge following.
Well, I will keep my eyeballs on the comments on a video for a few days, but you can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
It's once it's been posted over a week, I kind of
but you do try to respond. See, that's something I'm troubled with is like, you know, then I'm spending way too much time on the app. The problem is, and I appreciate all the kind comments, but I'm like, wow, how much time am I going to spend on this thing? You know. Now, are you monetizing any of this?
You know, I've recently been trying with the TikTok beta. Have you done the creativity beta?
I haven't. So what does that do? What is that?
That's been the best thing. It's the most profitable because TikTok, I was on since 2020 on the creator, was the standard creator plan. Right. And it's more like the if you do a 61-second or more video, the payoff is almost like a YouTube long form. It's really good.
So you are actually okay, because I haven't done it yet, and I thought they may actually decrease my reach. If they have to pay you, I thought my mind was they might punish you.
To be honest, my reach went up on the longer videos.
How long do you usually go?
What's that?
When you say longer than what? Like 3 minutes or 4 minutes? What do you?
No, I do 61 seconds.
Oh, that's long to you, is 61 seconds?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's long to them. As long as you do over 60 seconds,
okay,
it's a whole different payment structure. It's it ranges anywhere from 70 cents per thousand to $1.16 per 1,000 views. So which that adds up.
It adds up, right? So you're not doing this for the money, but it's nice to get the money.
Correct.
Yeah.
Especially during a strike.
Yeah, for sure. But it's okay. So it's significant. Now, but now, was there a moment though when you just wanted to stop or quit, or
Well, there are times where I feel burnt out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I've always just kind of kept grinding.
Have you? What have been some surprising advantages that have come from this that you would not have guessed?
Yeah, Michael, number one, I want to say you've had the best questions out of any podcast I've been on.
Really?
You really do. You really, I really enjoy this.
Good.
So the coolest thing to come out of it is, okay, I hate to do this. I got to go back a little bit. I was worried when I first started doing these videos that other prop masters in Los Angeles would think, who does this guy think he is, telling them how we do our job?
Yes.
So I was worried. So I was kind of waiting to see if there was going to be any backlash. Well, I got a call from a prop master named Peter Clark. And he said, hey, man, I just want to let you know I've been watching your videos. And I'm learning from your videos. And I really want to tell you, I appreciate what you're doing. And then
this is a respected prop master that you looked up to?
Yes.
Wow. Go on.
Yes.
Yeah, go on. I cut you off. So I'm sorry. And then I
got other calls stating the same thing. Then next thing, I was invited to be a founding member of the the Property Masters Guild, which it's similar to. It's not a labor union. It's a it's similar to the Art Directors Guild or the Set Decorators Association, something like that. But there had never been one, and I came in before we opened the doors to the guild, and here I am, a guy in Texas on a founding group of prop masters, and it was.
Isn't that amazing?
So it was truly a pinnacle of my career.
Really,
being it's just the biggest honor is having other prop masters that I've been idolizing for years. I just went to LA in July. So because of the writer's strike, all the prop trucks were parked at Independent Studio Services, which is like the biggest prop house in LA. And so I flew out we were going to have a tailgate party.
Okay.
And every prop master, I mean, just if you were a prop master and you were in LA, you were at this at this party. And we have prop masters coming in from Canada, all over the place. And it was the funnest event. It was just absolutely amazing. But I got to meet the guy that prop mastered Patton was there. All these retired prop masters were there. The guy that was Dennis Parrish, who was also the founder of one of the big prop houses. Bill Petrata, who did Starship Troopers. Movies going way back, but yeah.
So you must have been a little bit of a celebrity there. Everyone recognized you.
It was a little weird, but I feel like I've gotten used.
It's odd. Used to that. And so you were worried at first of being judged, and then of course that's just a lesson in and of itself. Everyone's worried about being judged, about being an imposter, and that's not what happened. But to be fair, you were staying in your lane. This is what you know, and you were talking about what you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like this unfounded fear. You didn't need to be worried. But tell me about like what happens to you, because it's a little bit the same thing when I'm walking on strike at the picket line at the writer's strike. I get recognized. Like where else would I get recognized if not on a picket line on the writer's strike? That's where I would. Yeah. And so it is a little. Mm-hmm. What happens to you when people? But you have a huge following. You must get recognized outside of these circles as well. You might maybe at the supermarket or wherever.
I have. It's. I haven't gotten used to it. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but occasionally.
And then how do you? What's your way of handling this?
Well, typically they just say, "Hey, can I get a selfie?" And I'll take a picture with them, and that's it.
Okay.
Thanks for watching my videos.
Right. How funny.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
It's a trip because you're in their lives every day. They see you every day, and you're somebody special to them. And you're making them laugh in 61-second increments so that you can get your payout. Now I know when I watch your videos that I will never see one that's 59 seconds because
you're true, not anymore.
You'll stretch that to 61 to get your payday.
I will. I went back and I posted an old video that I'd done. I thought, I bet there's probably a lot of my followers that haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And it was 59. It was 59 seconds. Mm. I went back and I always do my head turn. Yeah. I always do my head turn at the end.
Yeah.
I'll say my stupid joke and then I'll ponder it. Right.
Yeah.
So I just slow-moed my head turn.
How much time will you spend on a post? Like I have a rule that how much time will you spend on a post, producing a post?
I don't time it. And they're all different because some of them I'm doing commentary. Yeah. Because I've done well, kind of duetting videos that I find on Instagram, typically other, filmmaking videos, because I branched out a little bit to where because if I see that there's no one's doing videos discussing a poor man's process show.
Right.
They'll show it, but they won't tell the audience what's going on. So they're
Right.
limiting their audience, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, this is strictly for filmmakers.
Right.
But when I started, I'm like, well, what they're doing here is this and this. So the prop man is over here shaking the car, and
Yeah.
then the gaffer is spinning a light.
Yeah.
And I just say what all is happening in this shot.
Yeah.
And those videos have done well.
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
And same with stunt people. You know what I've had to worry with though is the dangerous content violation, because even if you're showing a clip of a stunt, like from could be Die Hard. It actually happened to me on Die Hard. Well, I was talking about rubber glass that's what they walk on.
Right.
And it got like a sensitive content page slapped on top of it, which totally, it just pulls you off the FYP. It's just like, might as well not have even posted it.
Right.
And so I've got to be real careful about, because even, and they're in their community guidelines, they have added in there even fictional violence. So,
right.
So if it's a movie clip, yeah.
See, the problem with what I have to do, to go viral, I have to piss people off, which I'm not comfortable doing. You have to say something controversial, but you don't really have to worry about it. I think you just go viral when something's truly interesting that blows people away, that, the secrets that you reveal.
Well, like I said, I'm doing that dance because I have, like I did a joke. It was mainly a dad joke, but I incorporated, it was about a rubber cinder block.
Right.
Where I throw the cinder, I show that the cinder block is rubber. And I said, we use these to keep the actors from getting hurt. And I threw it at my assistant and it hits him in the head. Mm-hmm. And then the camera goes to me. I'm just doing it all like this with my hand, right?
Yeah.
And he then off camera, he just nails me with it at the end. Like after I tell the horrible punchline to the joke, he nails me with it. And I put in this, I Foleyed in, which I'm an amateur Foley guy. I love taking the props that I have and trying to make sounds to them. Just Looney Tunes stuff,
Right.
Real, over the top. But
in the app, though, it's actually hard to do that in the app. You're talking about adding the sounds in the app. No?
Yeah, I rarely edit in the app.
Where do you edit? What do you use?
I just use like InShot on it's an app that I found. That way I'm not dealing with watermarks, and I'll just kind of,
it's called InShot?
Yeah, InShot, InShot.
I'll write this down.
And I think I pay like maybe $99 a year, but it's been worth every penny. And its tools are easier for me anyway. So to do because when you do a vocal, well, it says voiceover, but you record, your sound. You can move it around a lot easier.
Yeah, because it's a real pain. And then you add when you upload it to TikTok, then you add the captions. Is that how you? Or you add?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, sometimes I'll put them in. The ones in InShot kind of match the ones TikTok has. I mean, maybe not, but it's worth giving it a shot.
Yeah, how funny.
But that's just what I've been comfortable with.
Interesting. And you don't use, because there's CapCut, but you don't like that.
I haven't.
You haven't tried it.
I haven't really tried it.
I'm interested in whatever's the easiest. That's why I've been shooting in TikTok and then uploading to Instagram. It's just laziness. It's just like the less I can do, the better. But maybe your way might be better. It might be easier. I have to look into this.
It's worth trying. It's a pretty easy to navigate. That's why I did it, because it was easier to navigate, I thought, than TikTok. But I just haven't gotten into CapCut.
Right. Oh, interesting. So I'm learning something today. And so has this helped you professionally? I mean, it's nice to be recognized by your peers, but is it getting you work?
Not really, because I've kind of been on the same gig. It's like when the strike's over, I've got a series. I've got a season 4 of that, the show that I was working on. And, so Yeah, I mean, it's been, you know, the coolest thing is showing people, and it's really a lot of kids out there. You know, but my audience is like 18 to 34, probably similar to your audience. I think we probably have a lot of the same age range. I it's people learning, oh wow, I didn't know that profession existed. And oh, this is a possibility for me, you know, showing them that it's out there. And everyone wants to know, well, how do I get in the business, man? And I know you get that question probably 10 times more than I get it. And you just got to be tenacious and proactive. And if there are no films shooting where, you know, where you live and you want to be on a film crew, you move to somewhere that makes movies and TV shows. And it doesn't have to be just LA anymore. It could be Atlanta. It could be LA, Atlanta, Vancouver, North Carolina, New Orleans, or New Mexico has a pretty good, you know, you could make a living.
Now, we talked about a little bit about imposter syndrome, but was there a moment even when, you know, like for me in the beginning, it was like, who am I? Isn't this app just for teenage girls? And why am I, like, who might even be talking? Like, who cares about me? That's kind of how did you feel that way? And are you over that?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of over it. You get to where it really thickens your skin a bit. You know, you get to where, because some people are like you said, there are those trolls that it doesn't matter who you are, they're going to go after. I did have one scary situation where have you dealt with any kind of stalker situations?
No, and I hope I never do. What was your story?
Well, I'll try to be vague about it, but there was a guy got a hold of my cell phone number, and was just blowing it up, and then texting, leaving long messages. And I didn't call back because he didn't sound. There's something wasn't right, and then these text messages that I got, you know, worried me. And I went so far as to go into, you know, luckily, you know, with the show I was working on, I was friends with the HR lady and said, hey, what do you, I was like, hey, I know you've got to deal with that. Some of the actors have this happen. You know, what do you do?
What did she tell you?
And, you know, and I just really, it was almost like dealing with a troll in the sense that it got to the point where there were profane messages left because of my not responding.
Yes.
But eventually it ended. But it went on for a year and a half.
But oh my God, but you didn't take any. First of all, why didn't you block them?
I did. And they called back from a different number every time. Every time they called, it was a different number.
And eventually they just got bored, you're saying?
I'm hoping.
Oh, God, it's a nightmare.
It really was. It was, I mean, we're talking calls at 11 a.m., 11 p.m., 2 a.m.
What does your family think about all this?
Well, that kind of stuff, I tried to kind of not really worry them too much that it was happening. I mean, my wife, I told, but, you know.
Yeah.
But no, the family's great. They're loving it. You know,
they get a kick. Your kids are not embarrassed that dad's doing this. I think it's cool.
Cool. My son eats it up. He's 12, almost 13, and this is kind of a funny. I accidentally made him a meme. And I'll tell you what, 3 years ago, I didn't know what the word meme meant. So that's how backward I am. So I did a video again with the rubber cinder block saying I was making a joke that, you know, when you're a prop master, you can't prank your kids anymore because they're desensitized to any impending doom, you know, and so I said, hey, Watson, my son's going by on a scooter. I mean, it was all staged. And I had him go by on the scooter. And I say, hey, Watson, cinder block. And I throw the cinder block and he doesn't even flinch. He just keeps moving. It bounces off of him. Right. Well, like a year later, someone and that video did okay. It was pretty well received, but I wouldn't say super viral or anything.
Right.
But someone took that 3-second snippet of me saying, "Hey Watson, cinder block," and they froze it right before the cinder block hits it, right?
Uh-huh.
And it blew up. I mean, right now, if you were to type in "Hey Watson," it'll probably finish your sentence and say cinder block, and you'll see hundreds of videos. And then people did like fan videos. I bet there are 15 different animations of it. And there's a game in Roblox called Item Asylum. And one of the most deadly weapons in Item Asylum is the cinder block.
Uh-huh.
And when you throw it, it's my voice saying, "Hey Watson, cinder block." Never got a penny for it. But I think it's funny. My kid, my son was very proud.
Oh, that's a trip.
And yeah. And then every YouTuber, I'm talking the top YouTubers, were like Wilbur Soot and Jimmy here, and a lot of these big gamer YouTubers were. There was the trend where they were doing the "you laugh, you lose" videos, and that meme was in every "you laugh, you lose" video out there.
Now you mentioned
it was.
You mentioned that that you've done a lot of, I guess, podcast interviews. Who's reaching out to you, trying to have you on their and why? Why, what's that? What's that about?
Well, I've done a lot of times it's other TikTokers starting podcasts.
Right.
I did film festival. I did a film festival podcast last week. The prop the Prop Masters Guild has a podcast. I did that one, but I did like Erin, what's her name? Erin McGough is her name, and she's a documentary filmmaker. Okay. I can't remember the name of her podcast, but she's got one. I don't know. I've done quite a few. Now I'm trying to remember them all. Well, there have been just like general podcasters out there that are just kind of general all-purpose. They just go on topical things. Right. I will say this. You know what I avoided was when Rust happened. I got a ton of calls.
I bet.
I got a ton of calls. And I kind of talked it over with my friend who's a line producer. Mm-hmm. And was like, man, I don't know if I feel comfortable taking these calls because I'm a prop master, not an armorer. However, we are the ones a lot of times that hire the armorers. Right. And I was like, so basically I turned down every interview because I didn't really want to get defined by that.
You didn't want to wade. I would think so you didn't want to wade into the controversy, and you didn't want to, what else? I mean, obviously, it's a tragedy.
Yes, I did one. I just didn't want to capitalize.
You didn't want to capitalize on it, right? That's what it was, right?
Plus, tie yourself to that, right? So if you're doing if you're on CNN and every major network talking about it, then you got to get connected to that. And I really didn't want to be connected to it in any way. I did one. I did a TikTok, like a 3-minute one, talking about a couple days after it, because so many of my followers were like, "Come on, Scott, you got to weigh in." Right. So I weighed in on my TikTok and YouTube, and just said, "Well, look, I waited till the sheriff's department had put out a statement to where we kind of knew what they say the events were."
Yeah.
Because the first couple of days they kind of kept it hush hush.
Right.
And so I read the sheriff's statement, and then I based what I said on that was what the protocols were. These are what the protocols that we use, and they work. They are good protocols. Mm-hmm. That's how we've kept people safe for many years. But they breached every protocol. They broke every rule in the book.
Yeah.
My personal opinion. And I just said, these are the protocols that we use, and this is how they performed their duties. And this is, of course, resulting in.
I've never worked on a show. I've never worked on a show, as far as I know, I've never worked on a show with live, with weapons, with blanks. Okay. But we did do a show where we had a dummy gun. It was a rubber gun. And I remember having to talk with the AD saying, no, let's do a safety meeting. I want to make sure people know it's a fake gun and still treat it as if it's a real gun, but I don't want anybody being scared. Let's just talk about it anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm overly nervous.
Yeah, for sure. We always try to do safety meetings on that. If we, even if we're using an airsoft or a rubber gun. And but I've worked with, that's the whole thing, conventional blade fire. If you're working on a lot of action films, I've been around it for the last 30 years. I don't personally like to armor, to be an armorer. I prefer prop master, and I'll always bring an armorer on, so I'm not losing focus.
Right. But is there a different license you have to be an armorer?
In LA there are, but there aren't a ton outside of LA. It's just it varies state to state.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
producers really have to do their due diligence and making sure that they really check the resume and do reference checks on the person they're going to hire. That's so important with that position.
Well, for sure. But as with the stunt coordinator, anybody like that, anyone where someone can get hurt, for sure. And so I can see you actually not wanting to be, I guess, the face of that controversy. I mean, is that what it was?
Oh, yeah.
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 And I knew that there were other people that could weigh in a lot, be more informative than I could, because I'm not I'm not an armorer. And there are other people better suited for that than me. There are several prop houses out of Los Angeles that have wonderful weapons departments. And, if you think about it, I think I got it from New York Times. I think the number is this: since 1990, I think it's 43 deaths have occurred on film sets in the U.S. And this isn't, because there are a lot of other ones, but if you go worldwide,
right?
But the two of them were, well, Brandon Lee was one.
Yeah.
Helena Hutchins was the other. Those are the only two firearms related. Okay. The other, film sets are dangerous. It's like there are, especially if you're on an action show where there's a lot of vehicles. There's, most of those deaths were equipment related, or from falls. People falling off of rigging, motorcycle, car. But not always stuntmen. A lot of them were camera operators that got killed, because they're mounted on those insert vehicles too. They're the camera department. They really, they put themselves out there and put themselves in dangerous situations, just as much as the stunt guys on occasion. So I have a lot of respect for all of them. And it's just but because it's firearms and it was a star, that it really put us all prop and armorer folks under the magnifying glass.
Right. That's very, that's interesting.
Yeah. So you just hope that it promotes positive change. If something's gonna come out of it, that's what it'll be. It's just people more aware, and because of that, hopefully it kept the worst accident from happening that would have happened. Right.
Yeah. People also don't realize, because listen, I'm not on set a lot. I'm usually in the office writing, but when I'm on set, I'm like, oh my God, the crew, like they work so hard. They work so hard for so long. And then at the end of the day, if you don't go over, let's say, sometimes you go over And then you have to drive. If you're out in the middle of nowhere, you have to drive home or wherever you're driving to. And then you go home and you unwind, try to unwind for a second, fall asleep as fast as you can because you got to go back to work the next day. It's exhausting. It's not an easy life. It's the crew works hard, you know?
No, but that's where segue into union standard policies, before it was 9-hour turnaround.
Right.
Which means from the time they call wrap, or no, I think it's from the time that you shut your truck when you actually physically leave. When you physically leave the base camp or the set.
Right.
And then you're supposed to get 9 hours. 9 hours isn't much, especially if you've got a 45-minute or an hour drive home.
Right.
And then, so now I believe I think it's pretty much a 10-hour turnaround across the board.
But even that, it's like what people don't understand. So you race home after you're exhausted, and then whatever, brush your teeth or whatever, and you hope to fall asleep as fast as you can because you don't have enough. You can't waste time. And you don't know, it could be happening. Your day could end at 3 a.m. You don't know where your day ends. You could have splits. So
what's rough is working on Robert Rodriguez stuff, Troublemakers here in Austin, their studio. And I worked on a show called Planet Terror. And this is before Machete, but that movie was 100% night shoot. I mean, every bit of it, to where I
might have turned that down.
3 months of working from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and a lot of those locations being a remote, an hour plus drive.
And you knew that going in though, and you still wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I'm older
and wiser now, Michael.
You might not have done it now, right? I'm not sure I'd want to take it. It's a hard job working, being, the graveyard shift.
And horror movies are tough.
That's a good point.
On prop people, because they're very proppy. There's going to be a lot of weapons,
and it's going to be dark.
Which is a lot harder to move around and get. It's easier to hide from camera, but that's about it.
That's about it. Wow. Scott, this is such an interesting conversation. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I learned a lot. I want to tell everybody where they can follow you. So all your social media handles the same? It's Scott Prop and Roll?
Scott Prop and Roll, yeah.
On all the channels.
That's TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
Go and YouTube. Well, you said YouTube. Did you say YouTube? And YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Go follow him. It's such an interesting behind the scenes peek at I don't know about the magic that goes and all the practical, which is so interesting. It's the practical, not special, not the in-camera special effects, but the practical props and stuff. Wonderful. You have such an engaging channel, and thank you so much for putting it all out there. You're a great watch on all on TikTok and Instagram. So, thank you again, Scott. What a pleasure having you.
I enjoy following you. I enjoy everything you do as well.
Thank you, man. What a pleasure meeting you. Nice talking to you. All right, buddy. Thanks so much.
So now we all know what the hell Michael Jamin's talking about. If you're interested in learning more about writing, make sure you register for my free monthly webinars at michaeljamin.com/webinar. And if you found this podcast helpful or entertaining, please share it with a friend and consider leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes. That really, really helps. For more of this, whatever the hell this is, follow Michael Jamin on social media at Michael Jamin Writer. And you can follow Phil Hudson on social media at Phil A. Hudson. This podcast was produced by Phil Hudson. It was edited by Dallas Crane. And music was composed by Anthony Rizzo. And remember, you can have excuses or you can have a creative life, but you can't have both. See you next week.